Okay, so guys, thanks for joining today's session, and today's our 10th day. And today's agenda is that we are going to look at how to consume BI report, which is one of the important use case in integration. Second is we are going to look at the HCM adapter, how to create a connection using the HCM, how to load employees using the HCM data loader feature of the HCM, how to recover unsaved changes. So this is the last topic of the integration, and then we will start the visual builder today. I will describe what VBCS is. VBCS basic building blocks, creating and managing business objects, business rules in business objects, endpoints of business objects, and understanding of data manager and understanding of the service connections. Yesterday, I have explained you the ERP adapter. I have explained the complete flow which you need to follow in order to import the bulk data into the ERP. And we have executed one end-to-end use case wherein I have showcased how to pick up the source files, the supplier's source file, and load that suppliers into the ERP and how to configure the callback too. And then after that, we have explained, we did the demonstration on the exception handling part, wherein I have shown how to handle exceptions, how to resubmit your failed integrations, and what are the scenarios where you can find the resubmit options of the failed integrations. Guys, if you have any question, please do let me know.
Actually, Ankur, I am suffering from mild fever since the last night, so I have not practiced at all.
Oh, and those please take care, yeah,
So,
and please get the COVID test as well.
actually, you're right, right. So, I will wait till means tomorrow. If I have fever, I definitely will go.
Yeah, and please get get the testing as soon as possible, and please take all the necessary medicines which doctor will prescribe, which is very important.
Right, right,
As
right,
early
boss, right,
as
boss.
you will be tested and then start the medicine, it will be really helpful. Don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Okay. Any question? Okay. So now let me just share my screen here. What else? Okay. Is my Chrome visible to everyone? Yeah. Okay. So I hope it is visible. Now we will look at how to access, how to consume the BI reports and how to extract the data from the BI reports and then pass it to the different downstream application as per the requirement. So in order to consume the BI reports in OIC, you have to use the report service WSDL. And how you can get the report service WSDL URL? Like this is the ERP domain name /XMLP server /services /v2 report services and then WSDL. So this is the common path for each and every ERP domain. You just need to append the ERP domain name and then put that particular URL question mark WSDL, and you will see the WSDL definitions here. So first I will show you how to run the BI reports from the client tool like Boomerang, or we can use it from the SOAP UI too. So what I am going to do, I am going to create a new project. First of all, create a new project. Let's say BI service, we allow one, and then create. And here, when you create a new project, you can simply say import services from WSDL, click on add service, and here you can provide the complete WSDL URL, which I have copied here, and then load it. So when you will load this WSDL, it will show you all the methods provided by this WSDL. Okay, so a single WSDL file may have a different operations. So all the operations will be loaded automatically, right?
Ankur, one question: where did you copy this URL? HTTPS? Yes, yes.
So I told you, right, this is your ERP domain. And then
Okay, okay, right.
the ERP domain, you need to append this. XML server services, V2 report service.
Okay, okay,
This is the common for every ERP.
okay, okay, got it.
Okay, and here we have one method called run report. So run report is basically used to call the BI report. So I will create a new request, click on the new request. Once you click on this new request, a sample XML payload which will be generated. And what are the required fields you need to pass? I will show you here. So whatever is not required, I am going to delete that node. So this this is not required. We don't need this. And here also this is not required. Hold on, maybe I did something wrong. Yeah, so we don't require this complete one, so I am simply deleting. Then we don't need this as well. Yeah, so this parameter name values is required if you have created a BI report with the parameters. Let's say you need to pass the employee ID, or you need to pass the last updated date to get the all records between the current date and last time. So you may need to pass the different parameters. It might be possible that your BI service does not accept any parameter, as well as your service accepts one, two, or more parameters. If it accepts, then you need to use this parameter name values node. And here in the item, you see labels. In the items, you need to pass the parameter name. The parameter name might be, let's say, last date. So here you need to pass the parameter name, and in this you need to pass the value. Let's say 1 2021 0502, something like this. If you need to pass multiple parameters, so what you need to do, so I can remove others thing, I don't need it. Okay, so if you need to pass multiple parameters, you can repeat the items node here. And similarly, you can say employee ID and then value of it. So here, if in case the parameter is required, but the Piyush has given me one BI report wherein I don't need to pass any parameter, so this is not required as of now. Then you need to pass the absolute path of your report. So I have that path. Let me just take that out. So this is the absolute path of your report. You must have the absolute path before you try to run it. You don't need this thing, nothing. And here you need to pass the username of your ERP plus password. So let me just copy the user ID password here, guys. Please allow me a minute. So here I have pasted the user ID, and then I will paste the password as well. I'm just pause sharing, and then I will click on the send button. Here you see when you will hit the send button, it will give you the response in the report bytes. So this is the data which you will receive from the BI server. So what you need to do, this is the encode base 64. So let me just try to open this base 64 decode and let me just copy the complete report bytes here. Okay. I will remove this report bytes. So this is optimal. Can you repeat? I see something. Hello. And then you click on the decode. Once you click on the decode button, it will show you the complete data here, which means when you will hit the BI service, it will give you the report bytes, which will be the encoded. You can try to decode this data and you see what data is being fetched from your BI service. So this is how you can try to call your BI services from the boomerang. And once you make sure that the service is working, then you can go ahead and then call that API, call that BI report in your OIC. So in order to consume that BI service, we should have the WSDL URL. So first I have to create a connection, click on the create button, and I will use the SOAP adapter for that. And then select. And here I'll say BI connection. And what type of role I should select here? It will be trigger invoke or the trigger.
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 Calling the report invoke.
Huh?
Calling the report means maybe invoke.
Yes, it's invoke because I need to invoke that API. BI will not invoke my integration, so it will be the invoke only. Click on a create button, and here you need to provide the complete WSDL URL. That's it. So here you don't need to set the security policy because the username and then password you need to supply in the user ID and then password field. Test your connection. Connection has been tested successfully. Save it. Fine. Go back and let's try to develop one schedule integration here to call your BI. You can use the file transfer as well. File transfer is same as schedule orchestration. I will use the schedule one, and here let's say call BI service and click create. Okay. Now I need to call the BI connection here, and let's say call run report, and then next, and from here I will select my run report method. Okay, and next and next, and then finish. Open this mapper wherein I need to pass the data. Open the body and then run report. And here you see the report request, expand it, and whatever attribute I have given here, I will give here as well, like the report absolute path. So I will hard code this report absolute path here, but you take this path from the lookup. Why? Because when you will migrate your integration, you may need to change the path. So better take this report absolute path and then user ID and then password from the lookup only. Create target node. And then this one and here. So let me just take the path from here and then paste it here and then fine. And then okay, so here you see the parameter name values. So in case you need to pass the parameters. Here you see items. Items is the repeated one. If you need to pass multiple parameters, you can simply right click and then repeat node. One more items will be there, and then you expand the first one, and in the label you can pass the here. In the label you can pass the parameter name, and then under values, under item, you can pass the value. Since I don't need to pass any parameter, so I will remove that. So what I need to pass? I need to pass the user ID, create target node here, and then I will configure the username here. Okay. And similarly, the password. The password, I'll just stop sharing my screen and then enter the password here. Okay. So my call run report service is fine. So there are two cases now. So when this service will be executed, it will return the data into the base 64. So you may need to put the data as it is on your FTP server, or you may need to process the data. So I will show you both the things here. So let's consider you need to put that CSV data as it is on some file on the FTP location. So for this, I am going to use my FTP connection here and will say keep or write BI report data. Next, and I will say write file, and I will use binary. I can do binary B11, and here I will say BI report.csv. And then next, I will use no. Next, and then done. Fine. And when you choose this no here, you will see the file reference at the target side. File reference here, and here call run report response. This report bytes will, if you see the node info, you will see it will return the base 64 binary. So you need to pass this in the file reference. The file reference, so you need to convert this report bytes into the file reference. So there's a method called decode base 64 to reference. So what it will do, whatever base 64 data is coming, it will decode it and will convert into the reference. Okay, so this method is very important. Drag and drop on the file reference, and then you can put this report bytes here in the as a argument of this method. So what will happen? The run report byte, the report bytes means the base 64 will be decoded first and then converted into the reference and will be mapped as it is to the file reference, and the file will be created on my FTP server. In case you need to process the BI data. So for this, what I am going to do, I am going to write the data. So let's suppose you don't have the FTP server, but still you need to get the data from the CSV file and need to process it. So first you have to use the stage file, and you can say write data on stage, and then next, and here I will say write file name. You can say any file name. Here you can say bi.csv, refresh it, save, exit expression builder and specify the output directory, let's say /vi. Save. Okay. Exit expression builder. Next, here, when you choose the stage file, the no option will be disabled. Either you have to choose any schema. So here, the data is coming in the base 64. So we have one XXD here, and the XSD will be the opaque.xsd. So let me just search the opaque file. This one. I will show you this opaque XSD how it looks like. Let me just open this XSD first for you. Just hold on, please. Okay, let me know if this XSD is visible to everyone, right? I hope it is visible. So here, how it looks like. So I have created one schema here, and an element name is the opaque element, and the type is base 64 binary. So whenever you need to put the data on the stage, and when you don't know the structure, then you can use the opaque file. Let me just go back. I will upload the opaque file on the folder. You can take it from there. Next, and then finish. Right? And now here, both are the base 64. So I can simply go ahead and then call run report response. And I can map. So this is base 64. This is base 64. I can simply go ahead and then map it. Validate and then close it. Now the file will be written on my staging. Now I need to read that file which I have written. So for this, I am going to use the stage file action again, and here I'll say read file from stage. Next, and I will say read entire file. I can use the file reference, and then file reference will come from where? Write data on stage response. It will give me the file reference. File reference, save, exit expression builder. Next, and here, which format I need to select, guys? Here, the CSV or the XML?
CSB. CSB I will.
Why? Any idea, anyone?
Uncle CSB file.
Huh?
CSB one.
No, which is fine, but why CSV?
Because we are getting downloaded the data in CSV.
Correct. It is because the data which is coming in the CSV only, and this is the file which has been written on my staging. So I need to first create a sample file. So I can take a sample here. Let me generate one CSV file. Maybe you will not be able to see my screen, but yes, I just took the sample data, and let me just create that CSV file from that. That will be my, I'll say bi.csv. Okay, and let me just go here and pick up that CSV file. I have created a simple bi CSV file here. Okay, in the same format here you see, and I'll say PO and then PO set. It is a PO data. I will make all as a optional, only the PO header as a mandatory. Next, and then finish. Okay, one more thing here. So if you think that your data is more than 10 MB, so when you hit this service and you think that the data can come more than 10 MB. So instead of reading the complete file, you can use read file in segments. Okay. Now let me just loop over the records and we'll try to print some records here. Okay. Read file from stage PO set, and I will say PO loop over PO and then current PO. Create. Fine. And let me just use the logger activity here.
Ankur, sorry to interrupt you. When you're creating a loop, there is a option. Means loop in parallel. What does it mean by that?
So when you want to process all the records in parallel, then you can use this process in parallel. So every records will be processed in the parallel.
Means like if 100 record there, then 100 record will be run in parallel, or there is a limitation on that?
Yeah, all the 100 records will run in parallel. Concat, and I will say current PO, let's say PO header ID. I am just printing few elements here. You can send all these somewhere as well. You can say vendor ID, or let's say, okay, which let's say currency code. Okay.
You can take the segment one, that is the PO number.
Okay, whatever. It's just to print the data here, nothing more than that. Fine. And now my integration is completed. I have shown you both the approaches. Either you need to put the data as it is, might be this BI service returns the PDF, then you need to write the PDF as it is on the FTP location. Might be it returns the CSV data. You need to read the data and then process the data into downstream application. So I have executed both the use cases here. Right now, let's try to submit your integration. Integration is submitted. Let's see. It succeeded. You can open this and you can see 49, which means there were 49 records. And the loop has been executed. Everything is in the green, which means everything is executed. Let me just first open my FTP server. Let me just refresh it. I know you are not able to see the screen, but no worries. I will show you. Yeah. Here you see BI report.csv file. Let me just open that as it is. Let it open. And you can see, I hope you can see the screen, the records, and you will see all the records is there in your.
Record is not visible, Ankur. Record is not visible.
Okay. Is this visible now?
Yes.
Yeah. Here you can see all the records is there in the file. Go back here. Here. And if you see the view activity stream here, you can see all the data should be printed here in the iteration. You can see log message, PO header ID, segment 1, then PO header ID 2148, segment this. You can see all the 49 records here. So this is the way to consume BI reports in the OIC. Any question, anyone?
Ankur, I have one question. Might be I'm bit confused here. So you talking about that visual file, visual path.
Yeah, you have to be louder, Dheeraj.
Is it audible now?
Yes, yes.
What I was asking, you were talking about that visual path
Mhm.
for XML, right? So it depends on the location where we save the report, or it's in a common for all.
No, the report path you are talking about?
Yes.
No, this is not common. This totally depends where your developer saves the report.
No, visual file. When we generate visual
Yeah.
file, you
Okay.
told.
This visual file you are talking about?
Yes, yes.
So the path will remain the same. So this is the complete URL. So that will change organization to organization, but that will remain the same.
Okay, where I save a report in any folder anywhere within a Fusion.
Yeah. So that is a different thing. You are generating the report. That is different. But this is the complete visual from where you execute the BI. The BI reports which you create is a different thing. But this is the visual to call the BI services.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. So let's move
So
further.
normally, for Vibhuti this side, normally for this outbound interfaces from like Oracle Cloud, we have translations, like multiple translations of data. So could you please give a light on that, like how to design the translation of, let's say like we have a field and we need a translation for that field while we are doing a interpretation.
Translation as in?
Translation, that means like let's say like there is a code which we have in Oracle Cloud, and there is a separate code in a legacy system to which we are transferring this information.
Which code you are talking about?
Let's say like supplier code that we have in ERP, that is different from the supplier code we have in legacy system, to
Achha,
which
okay.
we are giving this data. So in that case, like we will have a list of values.
Okay. So you are saying you need to get some, the supplier's codes basis on some other data, is it?
Yes, let's say like we have a supplier code. Let's in this data, let's say like we are maintaining a currency code which is not same as the currency code being maintained in the target system.
Hmm?
So we need to have a translation logic. Let's
Oh,
say like we
okay,
are
okay.
maintaining
So, okay. So, Vibhuti, I hope you remember that we have created one lookup here, right? The countries lookup. Or no, we have created a qualification earlier, right? So let's say in the target system, instead of sending the USD, you need to send the dollars, right? And instead of doing the EUR, you need to send the euro, complete one. So what you can do, you can create a lookup here, like we have created the qualification here, like MCA to Master of Computer Application. Here you can maintain the codes, and there you can put the abbreviations here, and then you can use that lookup in the mapper while you transfer the data. Understood, Vibhuti?
Yes, yes. Could you please go to that the OIC diagram so that it will be clear like where to have that particular.
Vibhuti, can you please bit louder here? Hello, Vibhuti?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I was asking like, could you please go to that diagram where yes, call BI services. Let's say like we need to have a field table mapping and how like we can integrate that lookup.
Oh, okay. So I'm
No
not
need to
okay.
do
So
that.
I'm not showing there. I have earlier created one use case here, and where I have used that, I will show you. So here you see in the FTP operations, I have used that qualification, right? I don't know, you were there when we have created this qualifications lookup?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let me just explain it again. Maybe you have missed that. That is not a problem now if I can show the same, right?
Yes, there shouldn't be.
Yeah, that will be the same, right? So here, while I was creating the file, I guess, yeah, here. So while I have created the file here, you see I have used the lookup value, and the lookup value function, you can take it from there. This lookup value function. So when you will drag this lookup value function here, you will see one dialog box where you need to select the lookup which you want to use, and then source value, and then target value, and then default value. And here you need to pass the source data like the currency code, and then corresponding to that qualification will be your the abbreviation of the currency code which you will send to your target location in the qualification, I mean here.
Okay.
I hope you can go through this FTP operation session, and then you will have a better understanding of it.
Yeah, this also we can use in the loop.
Yes, you can. So the lookup value function you can use anywhere. Any other question?
Yeah, Ankur, I have one more question from my side. You remember I asked you long back one question regarding that object storage.
Huh?
So did you get a chance? Object storage, how to download the data?
Yeah.
And
So I have created one video around that object storage. I will share that one, and you can just go through. If you have any question, you can ask me then.
yeah, it will be better if you can share the link or something.
I will share. So let me just share it. Object storage access invoicing.
Because as of now, we are managing the thing through PL SQL. So we are able to download the file, but only for PL SQL.
I'm just sharing this to you over the chat. You can take it from there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let's move forward and let's see another adapter called HCM. If you want to integrate your HCM system, like you want to get the atom feeds, you want to subscribe for the atom feeds, or you want to use the HCM data loader feature to upload the bulk data, as we have seen in the FBDI. Similarly, the HCM have a FBDI feature which you can use to upload the bulk data. You can use that. You can browse any one of the HCM objects to create, update, and then delete the data, similar to the ERP adapter. So in case you need to use the HCM, you can use the HCM adapter here, which is on the name of Oracle HCM Cloud. Select it, and here let's say HCM connection. Click on a create button, and similar to the ERP here, also you need to provide the domain name of your HCM service, HCM Cloud, the username, password token. Similarly, we have all these policies: the PGP key support, password token, and the auth. The PGP key support will be like if you want to upload the encrypted file in the UCM, you can put the public key, and if you want to download and decrypt that, then you have to upload the private key here. I will simply use the username password token here, and will supply the username and then password here. If everything is okay, the connection must be tested.
What is the difference between this? HCM is also part of the fusion, right? So then
Yes.
why that HCM is the specially that is the Question or
Why?
answer?
It is because when you will use the, let's suppose you want to do something specific to the HCM, not Fusion. Okay. You have seen in the ERP, we have specific operations like create, update, delete, FBDI approach, and upload file in the UCM. But in case you want to subscribe the atom feeds, I hope you might be knowing what is that atom feed. Atom feeds are like whenever you are interested in the updated data from the HCM, like the new employees, the terminated employees, like employee assignments data. So these are the atom feed resources. If you want to subscribe those atom feeds, you cannot do it via the ERP adapter. You have to use the HCM. Similarly, another operation like that HCM data loader. The HCM data loader feature you will not get in the ERP. You will get in the HCM adapter only. So Oracle recommends that whenever you need to connect to the HCM, use the HCM adapter. Make sense?
Okay.
I will show you that one as well, all the options which we have here. Let's save. Okay. Go back. Now, what I want to execute a very simple use case here, like how to upload the workers in the HCM via the HDL feature, HCM data load. So I am going to create one schedule orchestration here, and let's say load workers, which is one of the common use cases. So the use case is, let's suppose one of your source system is generating the dat file, which contains the employees data, the new employees data that might be a rehired, terminated, whatever it is. What they do, they create the dat file and then they create one zip file. In that zip file, there might be different workers file, and you want to upload those workers into your HCM. So for that, I am going to use the FTP connection to read all the zip file, means the zip file, and I will say here pick the workers. Next, and here I will say read file, I will say binary, and here I will say P1, and I will give the zip file name which will contain the .dat file. So I have one worker.zip on my this location. Next, I will say no because this is a zip file. Next, and then done. Next, what I want to use the HCM connection, and I will show you all the HCM connections feature. Let it initialize. It may take time depending on the HCM cloud, how fast it is. It is because it need to load a lot of things from the HCM system. So it's taking time. Let it be. It's taking more than the expected time. Let me just try this into another tab and let's see. HCM data order, I can say. Yeah, it's done now. And here you see data load. When you click on the next button, workers, what do you want to call your endpoint? Maybe I have to take it again. Workers. Yeah. Now here you see different operations which you have not seen in the ERP, like query, create, update, or delete. It's very similar to the ERP. Here you can get access of all the ERP, the HCM services specific to the HCM only. Let it be. Again, it will take time because it needs to load all the metadata from the HCM. So it may take time. Okay. And here you can see business objects, services, and then business services. Whatever you want to use, you can use that. The subscribe to updates via Atom feed. So this is the important in regards to the HCM adapter, which you have not seen in the ERP. If you click here, next, and then you can select the Atom feed resources like the employee assignment, employee new hire, termination, update, grade, job location. You can select that one, and then you will get the Atom feeds automatically when you will run this integration. Import bulk data using the HCM data loader. In case you want to upload the bulk data, you can do that. Receive files from HCM cloud. If you want to download the HCM bulk data files from UCM, you can do that. And similar to the send files to HCM cloud. So let's use this import bulk data using HCM data loader next. And here you will see when you select this option, import bulk data using HCM data loader, you will have two options. So when you will submit your job, when you will submit your HCM data loader job, it will submit the data and it will submit one job into your HCM. After you submit the job, it will return one process ID to you. And if you want to get the query of the status, then you can use that, and then you have to map the process ID which will be written from this job. So submit this, and then here you need to use the security group and then doc account. Let's use this FE Fusion import export and then doc account specific to the HCM. Maybe let me see which one we usually do this. Data loader import, I guess. And then next, and then I don't think so it is a correct one, but yes, you can see the doc account and then done. And then in this mapper, what you need to do? You need to simply put the file reference, and then file reference will come from your FTP. Here you see file reference. Then validate and then close. Now you can again use the you can put a wait here, let's say 1 or 2-3 minutes, then you can again use this HCM adapter to get the status. So it will return the process ID. I can show you here. if you will see the logger here, let's say logger create always this one, you will see workers, you see the process ID. Let's try to concat this process ID, and then close. But if you want to get the complete status of this process ID, you can put a wait here and then use this again. Let me just put one worker dot zip file here. Okay. Worker dot zip. Yeah. Let me see one thing. What is the file name which I have kept here? Yeah, fine. Submit. Go to this integration. It may fail also. Let's see. In progress. Yeah, succeeded. Let's see. You see message received by invoke, data message completed, message sent to workers. You see the complete file. You can try to open HCM and see the data is there or not. And logger, you can see the process ID too. And the same process ID you can find out in your HCM also. You can see 2376519. The same ID you can see in your HCM. And then you can find out the status as well. So this is how you can use the HCM adapter in OIC. Okay. Now, another thing, any question, anyone? I hope it's simple and straightforward. Okay. Now let me just deactivate the integration. So the last topic of the integration, which I wanted to show you here, which is how to recover the unsaved changes, which is one of the recent features introduced in the integration. What is that? So you may have seen when I am configuring any activity, I am clicking on the save. Why? It is because the activities which you are configuring are not the auto saved. So let's suppose in case you have done some configuration and you have not saved it and your browser crashes due to some network issue, due to some power cut issue, or the OIC issue, might be anything. What happens is in the earlier versions, so let's suppose you have configured these 2-3 activities and you have not saved, and somehow your browser crashes, then all these activities which you have configured will be lost. So for that, Oracle has introduced one feature which will allow you to recover your unsaved changes which you have not saved. But there's a limitation to that as well. What are the limitations? What are the changes which you can recover and what are the changes you cannot recover? I will show you this one. So here I am saying, let me just configure this HCM again, get status. Next, and let's say import bulk data using HCM data loader. Next, query the status of the HCM data loader job. Next, and then finish. I have clicked on the done button. Suddenly, you have not clicked on the save button and suddenly your browser crashes somehow. So let me just simply close it. Now, when you will close your browser or something goes wrong, so what will happen? The integration will be in the logged state. Do you see here? The integration is in the logged state. So when you click here on the action menu, you will see the unlock. If you click on this unlock here, you will see unlock and discard, edit and recover. If you simply click on unlock and discard, all your changes which you have done will be discarded. Means the last configuration which you have done will be lost. But if you click on edit and recover, your unsaved changes will be recovered. Here you can see, you will see here. And now you can save your configuration and you will see the changes has been saved automatically. But let me just delete that again. So this has been changed, but let me just delete it now. Let me just reconfigure it again. Let me just try to do this again. Test. You are in the middle of this configuration and your browser crashes, for example. Okay, let me just close that. Open it again, and this time what will happen? Integration is in the logged state. Click here and then unlock. You see edit and recover, unlock and discard. Click on edit and recover. Here you see the adapter which you were trying to configure is not there. Why? What was the difference between the earlier one and the current one? In the earlier situation, the configuration which I am trying to complete, it was completed successfully. So I have clicked the done button and the wizard was closed. But in the previous one, I was in the middle of the activity and suddenly my browser has been closed somehow, which means the activity was not completed. In that case, you will not be able to recover those changes because it was the wizard driven activity and you cannot get the same wizard again. So till the time your wizard is completed, you will not be able to recover those changes. So this is related to your configuration. Similarly, in the mapper too. Let's take an example of this mapper. Let's say here you have two parameters, file name and then directory. Let's suppose you have hard coded the file name here. Let's say ABC. You have just click here and then you have clicked on the validated. Okay. And now your browser crashes. You can click here, edit as well. If you directly click here, you will see unsaved changes, edit. Here you see your mapping is there because you have clicked on the validate. Close. And now just save it. Now your changes has been saved. Let's try again. Let me just configure the directory now. let's say AAA, and then this. And let me just again try to close the browser and then open it. Again log, view. Now here, oh sorry, here, and then click on this unlock, and here you simply see the unlock. You are not able to see the discard and then recover unsaved. It is because there's nothing which you can recover, which means all the mappings which you have done, and after doing the mapping, after completing the mapping, you have clicked on the validate and then browser crashes, then only those mappings you will be able to recover. But if you are doing the mapping and you have not clicked the validate and your browser crashes somehow, then those mapping will not be able to recover. All the mappings which you have done after doing a validation will be able to recover. And who can recover those changes? Only the developers who were modifying the integration and the admin of the OIC. Only the people can recover those changes. Let's suppose I am doing that, the developer, and somehow Dheeraj tried to log in here, and if he will try to unlock the changes, then the unsaved changes will be lost, which means only the developers who were modifying it will be able to recover the changes. Any question, anyone?
Ankur, I want to ask one question, a small question. In which scenario we should use ERP adapter, and which scenario we should use SCM adapter?
I know who is it? Is it Santosh?
Yes.
I have already explained. That.
Actually, please come again. Actually, maybe I missed. Please.
Okay. So basically, ERP connection and then HCM connection are totally different. HCM connection has their own operations. Like if you want to subscribe the atom feeds from the HCM. So HCM has one feature called subscribe HCM. So subscribe atom feeds. So in case you cannot use the ERP adapter because ERP adapter don't expose that operation. That operation is available in the HCM only. Similarly, if you want to use the data loader of the HCM, then also you have to use the HCM adapter. In case the ERP, if you want to use the FBDI approach to load the bulk data, then you can use the ERP adapter only. So it's depend on operation to operation. So ERP is related for the CRM and then supply chain mostly. And HCM connection are used for the HCM related activities.
Got it. Thanks.
So guys, I am done with that integrations part of the OIC. If you have any question, you please ask. Otherwise, I will move to the Visual Builder now. Okay, guys, if you have no question, then let's proceed further and then move to the Visual Builder. Okay, now in order to access the Visual Builder, you have to go to the Visual Builder. What Visual Builder is? Guys, do you have any idea about that? Anyone? What it does? What is that? How it is replacing other Oracle tools?
Is used to build the UI of the pages or something, like it's just like a PDF.
Yes, correct. So it is called as Visual Builder, not the Visual Builder Cloud Service. And Oracle is saying that they are removing the cloud services from each and every features services they have. and simply they're saying Visual Builder only instead of Visual Builder Cloud Services. Okay. So what Visual Builder is? So maybe you have heard about Oracle ADF, Application Development Framework, which is used to build the enterprise grade web applications. And to develop the ADF application, you require the JDeveloper, you require the database, you require the WebLogic server so that you can deploy your applications. Since now every organization, everyone is moving towards the cloud, they are not opting the any on-premise application. They don't need to get the headache to install any software on the machines. So Oracle has launched another feature called Visual Builder. Visual Builder is replacing ADF, which can be used to develop web as well as the mobile application. But in the ADF, you used to develop the web applications only. But here you can develop the mobile applications too. Visual application not only comes with OIC, you can create a Visual Builder instance separately as well as we create the OIC instance. You don't need to have the complete OIC for the Visual Builder. You can create one separate Visual Builder instance as well from the OCI dashboard. Using that, whatever, and if Visual Builder is the part of OIC, you have to enable that service. We have already seen in the first class how to enable that Visual Builder. So if you want to use the Visual Builder, you have to enable it, and this is the one-time activity. Now, in order to access that Visual Builder, you have to simply open this URL, which is called /ic/builder, and which will take you to this Visual Builder Designer. This is not the studio. This is Visual Builder Designer. If you don't have any application, the page will looks like the same. Here you will see two buttons, one as a new application and the second is import application. In case you want to create a new application, click on the new application. Otherwise, you can create a use the import application button if case you already have one zip file and you want to import it. So let's try to create a new application. Plus new application. When you do this, dialog box create application will be open, and here you need to provide the application name. Let's say demo app. And when you provide application name, the application name can be a space separated to, and then application ID will be generated automatically. If you want to change it, you can change it, and this application ID becomes the context path of your application URL. So make sure you can keep it. Make sure you will keep it short. Otherwise, your URL of your web or mobile application will be too long. So better to keep it short. Description and then application template. You can use the empty by default one. You can use the SAS light theme based, and you can use the cookbook as well. So this cookbook template is very useful. Earlier it was not there. Oracle has just loaded this new template. Once you use this template, you will see lot of recipes or lot of web applications, lot of use cases are already developed, which you can use to extend your web or mobile applications. Let's use this empty application and then finish. Once you do this, one application will be generated here, and if you go to the all application, you will see the application will be visible here. The name, the status in the development, origin means you have developed this application via the Visual Builder, version, and then recent activities. You can filter the application. You can see the application by status wise, all development stage, live, log, obsolete. I will explain it later. Administered by me. If you are the administrator of the OIC, then you can view all the application which is developed by or the means the application of which I can do the administration. So there are, let me just explain the navigations first. One is all applications. When you go to the all application, it will show you all the applications which you have created earlier. and you can create a new application or import the existing one. Then settings. Settings only will be visible to the administrators. If you are the administrator, then only you will be able to see the settings. This is not visible to developers. If you go to the setting that is called tenant settings, and here you will see two tabs, general and then services. It's very important to understand. Security, allowed origin, tenant database, component exchange. Security. Allow only secure applications to be created. By default, it's disabled, which means whatever applications you create in the Visual Builder, you can allow anonymous users to log in into the to serve your application without login. But if you want that this Visual Builder can only create the secured application and without login, users cannot access. So this is the tenant level setting. If you enable this, which means you cannot allow your users to access your application anonymously. Only the administrator can change that setting. Only Visual Builder user can secure applications if this is enabled. Only if you enable this, means only Visual Builder users can access secure applications, which means you have to give the permissions to the users in order to access the secured application. No Visual Builder access. In case you have to, let's suppose the user is not the Visual Builder user, and you want to redirect the user to a different custom page. So you can provide the builder access page, and then you can provide the custom access denied message. Let's say you are not authorized to access this page or this site. You can provide such custom messages. Okay, let me just disable both the settings. New origin. So this setting is basically used in case someone want to embed your VBCS application into their application. Let's say SaaS application. If SaaS application want to embed the VBCS application, then you have to enable the origin here, who is originating the request. So this is core setting, which we have explained during the integration time as well. Click plus new origin, and then you have to give the domain name, let's say abc.com, and then you can give multiples as well. You can delete also. Tenant database, which is very, very important. So when you create the Visual Builder instance, or you use the Visual Builder of the OIC, the Visual Builder comes with our default database, which has a limitation like you can only store 5 GB of data in that embedded database of Visual Builder. But let's suppose you want to build more and more VBCS application and 5 GB is not enough. And in that case, you can onboard, you can switch your embed database to use to different database, Oracle database, I mean. So you can switch your embedded database to the tenant database. You can click on this use different database. You can use two type of databases. One as the DBAS. If you select it, you have to provide the connection string, the username, and then password. Or you can use the autonomous transaction processing. You have to upload the wallet here. I will have it somewhere. Hold on. I have the wallet here. Once I will upload it, it will get the DNS name. I can put the password here, admin, and then password here. And then next. When you do this, when you provide the any one of the connection here, like the database or the ATP, all the applications which are there, which you have developed already, you have to export them. and then re-import it and then finish. All the applications will be deleted as soon as you try to change the database. So it's important to export all the applications first before you switch the database and then re-import it one by one. So all the application, let's suppose that 20 applications, the 20 applications list will be here. Whatever you want to download, you can download. Let's suppose there are 20 application, 20 zip file will be exported and you have to re-import it one by one to point out to the target database and then finish. And once your database is changed, you cannot revert your changes. In case you want to use the embedded database, you have to raise a service request and then Oracle support team can change your database. Component exchange. So this is, I will also have to check, but this is related to the custom components. Services. This is very important to understand also. This is called backends. Backends are nothing. These are your backends from which you want to use the services. By default, integration application means the integrations and then process backend will be added here. Because OIC is the VBCS is part of your OIC. So which means the integration, this one, this backend means all the REST APIs which you have developed on the integration, you can directly consume in your visual builder via the backend and the process. So both the backends are added here by default. You see integration application, you can go to the servers, you can see OIC DAP01, OIC DAP01. But if you want to update this integration server, you can do that as well. Means you can point out to the different, but this is not recommended. Similarly, the process application backend is also added to point out to the same process application. You have option to add multiple backends. So which I mean, you can only add one backend of one application type, like the integration is already added by default, process is already added by default. So this is basically what is backend. A backend is nothing, it represents the integration server, process server, your Oracle Cloud Application instance, or the custom ADF described, which means let's suppose you have one application server which is accessible like this. And on this server, you have deployed a lot of REST API, let's say employee, let's say users, let's say payroll. So these are the REST API which you have hosted on the server. So this is called your backend server. And then you want to use this payroll, employee, user APIs of this backend. So you can register this custom backend in this using this create backend. Similarly, you will have this Oracle Cloud as well, this one. And you want to communicate with your Oracle Cloud applications. Means all the REST APIs which are available here, you want to use that. So you can simply go ahead and then add as your Oracle Cloud application backend. You have to give here like this. And as of now, you can use this authentication as a none and then connection type as a dynamic. The service does not support course and then create. And then your backend will be added here automatically. And then you can use that backend to interact with your application. I will show you how later. Okay, might be something wrong. Delete. Or you can simply go ahead here and then delete from here. It will generate the source code as well. I can delete that from here. Let me just try to edit again. Maybe. Oh, sorry. I have not copied. This is the one. Let's say Oracle Cloud account. Let's say dynamic, the service does not support course, and then create. Here you see, after you added it, the three backends, these three child backends, ERP, HCM, and then Sales Cloud will be added also. Similarly, now if you will try to add backend again, it will be disabled. It is because it's already added. Similarly, you can add the custom one. If you have a custom application server, you can do that too. You have to provide the name and then next, let's say custom backend, next, and here you have to provide the instance URL, let's say https://abc.com, and let's say authentication, which authentication policy you want to use. Here you will see very less policy. We can override these backends at the application level too. Let's say this one and then create. Here you see custom backend has been added. If you want to update that, the server detail, you can do that as well. So these are your custom backends, and these backends will be visible while you create the service connection. I will explain what service connection is. Go to the certificates. Certificates, if you want to communicate with any one of the REST API which is SSL enabled, then here you can upload the certificate of that application in order to communicate. From here, you can manage or delete the certificate here. So this is all about your navigations. Any question, anyone so far?
Yeah, Uncle, you were saying that only BBC user can log in. I mean, depend on setting. So where we managing that user? Means how we creating the user BBC?
This one you are talking about, right?
Yes, only BBC user can access your applications. So where we managing the user? Suppose that I have 5 user, I just want to 5 user
You
only.
manages those user in the IDCs.
Oh, is it? I thought that there is some separate user we need to create.
No.
Visual builder. Okay. Second thing regarding that, you are talking about the import. So what kind of application we can import? Like only ADF?
No. Only the visual application. Only the application which you export from here.
Oh, is it? Okay. I thought there's some custom application.
No. Because every application has its own structure. So only the VB application you can import.
Okay. Got it.
Now, let me click on this application. When you click here, you will be landed onto this, and one single VB application, damp app. Let me just delete that. And once your application is deleted, you cannot recover it. Okay. Demo app. Now let me just describe some basic terminologies which you need to understand for the Visual Builder. Here you see, when you click on the application, you will be landed onto this page where you will see different navigations here. Let me just describe one by one. So first of all, the application which you create, it is the combination of multiple web application or multiple mobile application. So within single application, you can create different web application. You can create different mobile application. In case you want to create a web application, you click here web apps, which will take you to this navigations only, and then plus web application. So web application is nothing. It is like any web application which we used in our daily life. Similarly, the mobile application. Here you see. So this is your application navigator. and here connect to data. So here we have two things. One is the business object and the second is services. What business objects are? Business objects are very, very important. Business objects are just like the table of your database. Like you create a table, the employee table, the users table, like the address table, concat table, the payroll tables, any other table. Similarly, in the VBCS, it is called business object. So if you want to maintain your transactional data in the VBCS, you have to create the business object, which are very similar to the tables in the database. And all the business objects which you create from here that will reside in your embedded database unless you have switched to the tenant data, unless you have switched your tenant database like the ATP or the DBAS. If you switch it, then all the business object will be created into your target database. By default, it will be in the embedded database, which you cannot open separately. All the data, all the business object you have to maintain from the visual builder only. Okay, so that is called your business object. Services. Service connections. Once you click on the services, you will see two tabs, service connections and then backends. What service connections are? Service connection represents the REST APIs. Create service connections to consume existing REST endpoints provided by a service and use them in your application. For example, in case you have the REST APIs and you want to interact with those REST APIs to get the data from a third-party application or from any other application. So you can create the service connections. Let's suppose you have one service available over the internet. This one. And suppose you want to consume that REST API. So you have to create the service connection. Service connection are totally used to communicate with the third-party applications. And then you have to use the REST APIs. I will show you how to create that and what all options are available. Backend. So here you have seen in the settings section, we have created the backends. Here you see all the backends here: integration application, process application, Oracle Cloud application, custom backends. So every time you create a new application and you go to the services connection, all these backends will be visible here. And then you can override the details here by clicking on it. And then you can add more and more servers here as well of the backends. But it will be specific to this demo application. The settings which you have given here, it will remain as is, but these settings which you will override here will be reflected for this application only. Similarly, the process application, cloud application here, and then custom backend here. I will show you this, how to do this and in what all cases you need to override the backends. Okay. Business object, components, all the, okay. So these are, so when you try to build your web pages or the mobile pages, you have to use the certain components. And these components are based on the Oracle Jet technology. Oracle Jet is the open technology which you can use to build your user interfaces. So here we have lots of user interfaces, user interfaces component which you can use to build your web pages or the mobile pages. And here you can see the list of all the component. You can search it. You can see what all installed the custom component and what are the updates of the components. I will show you these components when we will start creating the web application. The process, if in case you want to call any process from the process application, you can register your deploy process. I will show you this later. And here you see the source view. Every application will have the source view. And when we will start creating the web application, one web application will be added and it will have a different structure altogether. So these are your simple terminologies of your VBCS. Any question, anyone? Okay, so guys, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Ankur.
Yes, yes, Ankur.
Is this clear to everyone what VBCS is? What are the basic terminologies of the VBCS? The embedded database, the business object, and the service connection backends. Okay, cool. Now let's move forward and let's try to create the business object. How to create business object? Click on this plus business object, and here you need to enter the label, let's say employee. And the name will be created. This is the unique name. You can have the user-friendly name here. Let's say employee salary, something like this. So this is the label. And
This is actually a table database.
sorry?
Business object is actually a table in database.
Yes.
Suppose
yes.
that we are using.
Yes, correct.
And can we utilize if already any table exists in the database, we can utilize it. We can.
No, you cannot. So you,
Okay.
I explain here, when you provision the VBCS, the independent embedded database will be provisioned automatically, which has a very less space called 5 GB. But in case you want to switch your embedded database, you can switch them. But you have to create business objects from here. In case you want to reuse the tables of your another database, for that you have to create the REST APIs in the integration and use that REST API here.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, if I have the Fusion instance from based on those tables, I want to create one application, one custom application. Also, complete custom tables based on the custom tables. So these are the both the different databases, right? So custom database and this is the Fusion database.
So, Naveen, do you have access of the Fusion database somehow?
No, that's what. If
So basically, in order to access the Fusion functionality, you have to use the REST APIs. And those REST APIs are available via the Oracle Cloud Application Backend. I will show you that one. How to interact with the Fusion application. So let's try to create one business object, let's say employee, and then create. So once you create a business object, it will be visible here, and each and every business object will have a different functionality. I mean, every business object have all different tabs. Means there are a lot of functionalities which is available for each and every business object you create. Let's try to understand. General name of the business object, plural label, the display label, description, contains application setup data. So let's suppose you are creating few business objects which contains the application foundation data which is required in each and every life cycle stage of the application. Even when you live your application, you need that data, like the country list, like the state list, like the country codes, like the currency code. So these are the data which you require anyways in each, whether you are developing the application, whether you are making it live, whether you are doing the QA. So if you are creating such kind of business objects to hold that foundational data, then you can keep this option on. And when you will migrate your application from one instance to another, that data will always be there, irrespective of the option which you select, which I am going to show you later. Fields, By default, 5 fields will be created, like one is the ID field, and you cannot modify and then delete any one of those fields. The ID, it is the primary key, it will hold the primary key. The created by, creation date, last updated by, and I hope everyone is aware about those fields because these are the standard fields you will get in each and every database. In case you want to create a new field, click here and you can enter the label, which is like a user-friendly name, and then a unique field name will be created. If you want to update it, you can update it here. These are the list of data types like the string, number, boolean, date time, date, time. The reference is basically to create a parent child, means to refer the primary key of another business object. I will show you the email field, percentage, the phone number, or the URL. So you can start creating the fields. Create field. And once your field has been created here, you will see the field name, display here. You can see the properties. You can update it as per your need. Click here, and if you want to delete that, you can delete it from here. But once our field is created, you cannot change the data type of this field. You will see different constraints here. You can make it required, you can make it unique, indexed, updatable, searchable. By default, both are this. You can provide the format like email, phone, or URI. You can provide the minimum length, you can put the maximum length, you can put the pattern here, like provide a regex here so that you can only put a ABC, not 1, 2, 3, something like this. You can create more field, let's say last name. You can create more field, let's say age. You can create email, address. You can say qualification. Okay, you can create one more field, let's say full name. So here you see I have created a lot many fields. Now, in the full name, you wanted to have the first name and then last name always. So here you can set to a default value if value not provided. Okay, you can do this, or you can say calculate it with a formula here. Let's say I wanted to say it should be the always first name plus concat plus last name. So every time you will insert a record in this business object, the full name will be populated with first name plus last name. Similarly, let's suppose if age is not provided and you want to set the default value, you can do that here, like static value or the expression. Something like this. Security, I will show you this later. In case you want to apply the security on the business object, you can enable the role-based security, which I'm going to show you this later. Business rules are very important. Business rules, there are different 5 types of business rules which you can create here, like the object triggers and the field triggers. These are like the database trigger you create in your database, like on the insert, update, delete. Similarly, you can create object trigger. Object trigger means on the employee. The field triggers, which will be applicable on a particular field. You can create the validators, means you want to apply some validation before you insert the data into the employee. Let's say age. You want to restrict to create a new user whose age is less than 18. So you can create the object validator, or you can create the field validators too. So object validators actually works on a different fields. However, fields validator is specific to a particular field here. Similarly, you can create the object functions. Object functions are the custom functions which will be exposed as a REST API, and you can call these REST API in the web application or the mobile application. So if you want to create an object trigger, go to the business rules, object triggers, let's say new object trigger, and you can provide the trigger name, let's say email notification. I want to send a email notification in case when a user is created, and here you can see the event, let's say before insert. You can use before update, you can use before delete, and then show more. Let's say before insert, I want to send an email notification. Let's say create object trigger. You will be landed onto the designer. Click on the plus button. You can choose the criteria, like you want to execute it conditionally, or you always want to execute, or you want to have one custom code. If you say execute conditionally, then you have to put the condition here. Let's say if employee address is not equals to null, then only I want to execute it. You can put a condition here, and let's say match all or match any. You can say if employee address is not equals to blank, then only execute this condition, the action which you will add here. Or you can convert it. Let's say from here, you can say always execute, means it will be executed always. You can add an action here, click on this plus button, and then here there are different actions you can perform. Like you can create a record in any one of the business object. Let's say this is the action, put it here, and then all the business objects which are there in your VBCs will be visible here, and then you can insert a record here. You can say add field value, all the field which is there in the selected business object will be populated here, and then you can provide the values here. You can delete a record, you can update a record, you can call object function, means the object function which we can create via the object function. You can start your process, you can perform a task action. Send an email notification. If you want to send an email notification, you can use this action. And then you can select or create a template, click on a create button, and then you can put a template name here, save as a new template. If in case you want to use this template for the future use or save for this action only, you can say email user is created successfully. For example, user is created successfully. And in case you want to add the parameter here, you can click here, and the parameter has been added here. You can change first name. You have to provide the value of the first name dynamically, and here you can say dear. Similarly, you can provide the parameters here. Okay, parameter 1, parameter 2. Congratulations. Congratulations. Boarded successfully. Something like this. Okay, and then save. And here all these parameters are visible here. First name, you can say first name here. You can provide the expression here too. And then first name and then last name. Fine, and then done. Okay, recipients to whom you want to send the emails. You can configure this expression, and let's say this guy. Done. Okay, now our business trigger has been created. If you go back here, by default it's active. If you want to create a new object trigger, click on this, and then you can edit it. You can copy, means you can clone it, you can delete it, you can deactivate it. Once you deactivate it, it will not work. You can activate it simply. Similarly, you can create field triggers, and when you create a field triggers, you have to provide a field here. And then similarly, the wizard will open, then you have to configure it. In case you want to create object validators, you can do that. Let's say new object validator. Let's say email address should not blank. Here you have to give the error message. You can say email validator. Okay. And here you can say employee address not equals to no. Now your employee validator is also created successfully. Similarly, you can create field validators. New field validator, you have to supply the age field here. Let's say age. You can say age validator. Age must be between 18 to 60. Right? And here you can say new value greater than 18 and then and new value, let's say 60. Now your field validator is also ready. So this is how you create the business rules. Go to the endpoints. It's very important. When you create any business objects, the business object will expose the 5 different endpoints automatically, and the interaction between the web application and the employee's business object will happen through all the REST APIs. You cannot directly access those business objects. Every interaction will happen via the REST APIs. Here you see /employee. This is for get many. This is for to create employee. This is to fetch one employee. This is to update. This is to delete. Right? You can call these business objects from outside of VBCS application also. Here you will see resource APIs, metadata, and then data. So development, stage, and live. Here you see development, staging, and then live. Each and every VBCS application you create has 3 different phases. The initial phase is the development. You see the DApp. The second is stage. Once your development is completed, you can change the phase of application from development to stage, and the URL will be different. Similarly for the live also. The final phase is the live when you want to publish your application for the end users. These are the resource API. If you want to upload or import or export the bulk data, you can use this employee endpoint. You can use this employee endpoint from the postman to check the data is not there or not. Similarly, the staging, similarly the live endpoint. The metadata of this business object, like how many fields they have, this business object have, and what is the type of it. So this is to get the metadata. But when you want to access it, you have to supply the username, password of your OIC. The basic authentication. Resource cache control. I will describe this later, but it's very important. Data. Here you can data, it will show you all the data. You can create a new row. Let's say 15. Qualification MCA. First name, last name, qualification. Let's try to add row. And here you see the field validator has been fired, and it say age must be between 18 to 60. Okay, let's say 19. Let's say add row. Now the data must be added. Email notification will be sent to my email address. I will show you. Here you see. Congratulations, you are onboarded successfully. Ankur chain, and here you see the Ankur. If you go here, you see in the fields, the full name should also be populated automatically here only, the Ankur chain. So these are the benefits of the business rules. They are fired automatically whenever you try to insert the data. You can delete, you can edit the existing row, you can copy it, you can filter it, you can refresh, you can export it, import the data, you can export the CSV. Any question, anyone here? Is this clear to everyone?
No. Yeah, it's like triggers and events, business events in ERP, correct?
So I will not compare from the business events. Business events are totally different because they are very heavy. Here, the triggers, I can compare the triggers with the database triggers.
Okay. Okay.
Because in
Can you show can you show the designer part where you went for and configured this business rules and email notification?
Yeah, sure. You see the email notification here. So this is the designer. I have used the action here, like the criteria, I mean. So which criteria you want to use, always execute or the execute conditionally or the custom code. And then you can define the action here. There are different actions you can perform, like you can create a new record in any one of the business object before the data is inserted into the employee business object. You can delete, update, call object function, start a process, and then send email notification.
Yeah, thanks. Just now, as you have created a record and we got an email notification.
Yes, that will be fired. Okay. Now this is about the business object, and you can keep creating more and more business object by clicking on this plus button. And here we have one tool called data manager. So data manager is basically used to manage your application data of the business objects. Like you can import data from live application to the stage and stage to development, or you can import the bulk data into the business objects. You can create a new business objects from the file as well. So here, in order to access the data manager, go to the business object, and from here go to the data manager. Here you will see different options, and here you will see all the different phases of the application, like development, staging, and then live. So there are 3 different phases of the application. Development is when your application is a development phase, when you want to send this application to your QA team to validate the functionality. Then you switch from development to stage, and then stage, once the validation is completed, you can live this application. Every stage of the VBCS application will have the different database schema in the embedded database. For example, if you have a demo app, okay, and in the demo app you have one application called ABC. Then for the development phase, the ABC schema, the schema will be different for the development phase, and for the staging, the schema, new schema will be created, might be ABC underscore staging. Similarly, the live schema will be created differently when you switch it, and it will be the data, ABC underscore live, something like this. So every phase of the application will have the different schema. And here you see import from live. It is disabled. It is because your application is still in the development. When your application will be in the live, you will see this option will be enabled. Here, replace all the data in the development with the data from your live database. So it is just like a cloning you do from production to development. So that option will be for that. If you want to migrate your live data with the development database, you can do that. Import from staging. If you want to import your staging data into the development database, you can use this option. This is disabled. It is because your application in the development. Import from file. You can import the zip file, you can import the CSV file, you can export the Excel file here also to import bulk data into your business object. In case you have two business object, employee and then qualifications, and then you want to import the bulk data into both the business objects. So what you have to do, either create one zip file having the two separate files, employee.csv and qualification.csv, or you can create one single Excel file where you can maintain two different worksheets and then import that one. So how it works is, let's suppose this is my employee business object. Let me just try to export it here. Sorry, export. When you will export it, it will generate one employee.csv file. Let me just open that. Here you go. Here you go. ID, creation date, last updated date, created by, last updated by, everything is there. Okay, let's suppose you want to import the same file. So what you can do, via data manager, go to your data manager, click on import from file, upload a zip file, and then employee.csv, import, ignore column. Oh, sorry, this is not there actually. Here we go. Maybe in that file, I don't have the email address. I don't have the qualification. So here I only have these three data. I have selected an incorrect file, but that's fine. Here you see the employee has been loaded here. All three employees.
But Ankur, we have put the validation, email ID cannot be null. So how it imported? We have put some validation, right? Email address would be not null.
Yes. So it might be possible, I have not checked that, it might be possible that when you will import the data via the data manager, this will not be applicable. So let me just see one thing here. 19. CA. Yeah, looks like my business role is not valid here. Looks like my business object validator is not working, but I will get this checked. Okay.
Okay, one more thing, Ankur. Suppose that there is one more field in employee object storage, like a country. Can we put some lookup, or can we second create a dependent lookup like a country and state? Is it possible in?
Yes, it is. I will show you that one.
Okay. And how it will be visible to the end user? The same way like you look and feel, it's the same?
No. So these are the backend tables. I will create the web application where I will show you the uses of this business object and we can show the different UI.
Okay.
So these are the tables we create in the database. These are not for the end users. For end user, there will be a web application which you will create.
Okay. It will come later on. Yeah, we got it.
Export all data. You can click on this export all data. The zip file will be exported having all the business object with the data. Import business objects. If you want to create a new business objects via the file, you can do that too. Click here. Similarly, you can upload a zip file or drag one here, like you can upload CSV or Excel file too. Let me see if I have something here. Let me see op.csv. I don't know what is that, but let's see. Here you see I don't have any record. This CSV file has been imported here. Op.csv, the label, the new object name, let's say opportunity. Next. and all the fields which were there in the CSV file is there. You can change the display label. You can change the field name. Okay, you can change the type from here. You can make the required and then finish. Close. And here you see the opportunity business object has been created with all those fields. Guys, make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's all about the today's session, guys. If you have any question, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll continue next week.
Uncle, I have a question here. If you don't mind, I can ask.
Yeah, Vibhuti, please.
Yeah, here, like completely, we are creating database objects. So, if we are going to create data, so how much data it can uphold? Like, will it manage or handle huge data, or for limited? There are some limits to the data that we can create here.
Your question, how much data we can manage via the business objects? Is that your question?
Yes, exactly.
So you can manage only 5 GB of data with that embedded database. If you want to have more space, then you have to switch your embedded database with another database like the ATP or the DBAS.
Okay, for that, we need to have a different connectivity for the fix.
No, nothing. It will be the same, na? You simply first switch your tenant database using that option, and then also the business object creation will be in the same ways.
Okay. Got
The
it.
mechanism will remain the same of creating business objects.
Got you.
Any question, guys? Okay, so I will wrap up the session for the day and just allow me a minute. I'll stop recording.